What's good, everybody? Welcome into your Week 6 Early Edge NFL Mega Preview. We are powered, as always, by the almighty Sports Line. I, of course, am the coach, and we continue to roll week after week after week. Follow our YouTube page. It's free to subscribe. Turn on those notifications. You never know, every single time we have new content dropping into your feed. A big thank you to many of you who were part of our historic show last night before Monday Night Football. Biggest audience we've ever had, the most interactions we've ever had, the most likes we've ever had, and we're going to continue to grow every single day. As you all know, pound that like button. Everybody hit it for me at least once. We're going to start our giveaways today. At 200 likes, we'll give away 2. So let's get that thing started. I see you, Ryan, Mark, Sean, all of you here today. Joe, Matthew, John. Also, we're trying to pay attention to who is active in the comment section. We may or may not give away a couple of Sports Line subs. If somebody is extra active today, we'll see. My man Johnny is keeping his eye on that. Now, Matthew, I see you. Of course, I'm the best host in all sports. I agree with you. Now, let's bring in the stars of the show because we got a lot to get to. We break down every single game on the slate in less than an hour. The Lady Killer, Matty Severance. Welcome back, sir. Hello.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, baseball season's about to end for me here with the White Sox tanking, so at least I bet against them.
And the show bet against them, too. Johnny Bowman had the Astros as one of our best bets to win this series against the White Sox, so we are very happy here at the show. I apologize for you, Matty. I apologize for you. M Squared, never busier than you are right now. What's good, man?
That is a fact. Tuesdays are busy. Now we're adding NHL and then next week NBA DFS at the same time, but feeling good. Like I said, this is one of my favorite shows. Definitely the show I recommend most. You get a lot of value out of this show if you get those early numbers in the week. So fired up. Let's do it. I actually have quite a few plays today.
Let's do it. Make sure you throw those Twitter handles in the comment section every time you write something. We have so many people watching the shows now. It gets lost. That's the only way that we can pick you for a winner. So put those Twitter handles in the comment section and keep it going. Michael, Zach, John, Brandon, I see all you guys today. Thanks for hanging out with us. Now, the hottest capper on this show so far through the first 5 weeks is our final guest today. He is the man, R.J. White. Why do we give out these games on a Tuesday when the games aren't till Sunday? Can you please enlighten the audience?
Got to get that early line move. You got to get it even earlier because you get it on Monday mornings. You sign up for alerts on the Sports Line app. Follow me. You'll get my picks when they come out. You would have got Bills +3. We obviously didn't need that half point there. You would have got some other value there. So like the Rams. So games that I like early in the week, I might not play later in the week if the line moves too much. Unfortunately, for some of the contest picks I put in on Saturday, that was the case. I wasn't on the Bills at 2.5. I wasn't on the Titans at 4.5, and I should have been. I should have just trusted those picks. So, this is where you get the best value here early in the week.
Yeah, it certainly is our mega preview. Go ahead and turn on those notifications because we're here every single Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Now, we're more than just cappers and guys that like to bet. We're also fans too. So I always like to pick 5 games, according to me, the 5 most intriguing games of the week, and ask my guys what they're most looking forward to. Johnny, let's go ahead and bring those up right now because here is what I think, for a lot of different reasons, is the 5 most important games of the week. Packers, Bears, Chargers, Ravens, Cardinals, Browns, Cowboys, Patriots, Bills, and the Titans. RJ, let's come to you. Which one of these 5 games are you most interested in?
Well, I'm looking at them. I'm Chargers, Ravens. I think really Bills have been crowned, the AFC, the team to beat, obviously for what they did this week. But Chargers, Ravens really is the undercard, and either one of those teams could be good as the Bills. I mean, we'll see when they match up. But the Chargers have been really impressive so far. So I think the team that comes out of that game with a win, you might be able to put them close to on par with the Bills, if not on par with the Bills, as a very complete team who can do it on offense and defense, just like the Bills are doing.
I like that a lot. Mikey, what game are you looking forward to out of these 5?
I'm going to give you 2. It's Cardinals and Browns. You'll see for obvious reasons later in the show why I'm so interested in that one. But Cardinals still undefeated. They snuck out of there with a win. I think this Browns team is very good. The result of that last game against a very good Chargers team could have gone the other way with the exact same point total at the end of that one. So, and then the Ravens, I want to see if they can build off of that comeback. I still think that they're a good team, and I actually think they're a bit underrated in the betting market still. So those are the 2 games for sure that have my interest.
It's crazy. I saw a stat today that Lamar Jackson has more combined passing and rushing yardage than 18 NFL teams by himself than 18 NFL teams. Matty, which one of these 5 games are you most interested in?
Well, obviously, I'm going to say Packers-Bears. I mean, the Bears just sent John Gruden into retirement, so maybe they can send Aaron Rodgers into retirement with another win.
I guess that's one way of looking at it, no doubt about it. D-Lev, I see your comment over there in YouTube. He says, Coach, as a former professional athlete, really appreciate everything you guys are doing here at the show. Let me get back to it. Where are you at? I can't. You got so many people are watching now. I can't get back to the comments. But D-Lev, I saw your comment, and we appreciate you. There you go. What you're doing here, the quality of info you provide is spot on. So thank you so very much. We appreciate all you guys. I see you, Adam, GK, Stadia, Josh, Zach. You're all here today. Okay, let's get into our best bets, and then we'll get into every single game and the information within the game. We tell you all the time, educate and entertain. Knowledge is power here at the Early Edge. So, RJ, I want to come to you. Give me your best bets so far, official plays here on the show.
Yeah, I went with the Browns -2.5. I think that now that the numbers come down under 3, the Browns are a decent value there. Kyler looked like he might have been a little beat up at the end of that game. We just found out, probably 10, 15 minutes before we went on, Chandler Jones been placed on the COVID list. That's a big loss for that defense too. So I like the Browns. I think they'll come back in that and have a good showing. I like the Panthers -1. The interesting thing about that is it went up to 1.5 yesterday or earlier today. Comes down to 1. Now it's at Vikings -1. So there's some sharp money there that really loves the Vikings this week. Makes me a little worried about my pick there, but I'm not afraid to go against the consensus, and think that I'm right. Panthers, I think, are a very strong team despite what we saw last week. Eagles +7. I think that's the number you want to get against the Buccaneers. Tampa dominated that Miami defense. The Tampa defense is going to be down Levante David, though. So I think Philly can score points. They're a way better version of that Miami offense. And the Tampa Bay defense is great defending the run. Philly doesn't run much. So, I mean, Tampa hasn't faced a mobile quarterback this season like Hurts. I think he's going to have a good game and keep it close. Bills -4.5. That's up to 5.5 now. It's kind of gotten too high that I wouldn't really want to play it in the market because this is a bad letdown spot for the Bills coming off of slaying the dragon of the Chiefs. We saw with the Ravens, they slayed the Chiefs. They came out and they needed a record field goal to beat the Lions the next week. But I just don't think the Titans are a good team. They can't stop anyone on defense. So I liked it early on Monday at 4.5. But now it's probably a little too high. And the Steelers -4, big move down from the switch to Geno Smith at quarterback. I know he played well in that game, but he's a big, that's a big loss going from Russ to Geno. So you pull that down, and Seattle wasn't playing that well anyway. So, I mean, that put them down in the power ratings from 1.5 points above average to -4, which is that Giants Bears type of range. So I don't like what I've seen from Seattle so far this season. So I think the Steelers, if they can build on what they did offensively last week, go on and win that game.
I think this is my best bet of the week. I love the Steelers in the spot. Seattle traveling. They normally have a good record in the Eastern time zone, but not without Russell Wilson. Certainly, it's his record that is so great. By the way, Joe, stating the obvious, YouTube comment section said, "I'm going to put the bets in right now." Joe, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of giving them to you right now. But thank you. All right, Maddie, let's come to you. What are you putting in officially on the show today?
I can tell we really broke the budget with these Hands Across America graphics. Are these new, this pick agreement thing? That's freaking me out, man. Thought it was a tornado at first. I couldn't tell what it was. I agree with both what you guys said on the Steelers. Yeah, Geno Smith. I'd like to know if Devin Bush was playing for Pittsburgh and Juju Smith-Schuster's out. But, yeah, I think Pittsburgh wins by a touchdown there. I actually bet the Texans last night during the Colts-Ravens game. Just as I saw every Indianapolis defensive back go down injured. I mean, they are just so battered. Plus, short week. I mean, they're going to be I think they'll be flat after blowing that lead. So that was just a value pick. I don't think it's at 10.5 anymore, and I would take it any lower than that. But again, that's Houston at Indianapolis. Same thing last night during the game when I heard the Gruden news. I quick jumped on the Broncos. I don't like it higher than 3, but I think it's at 3.5 mostly everywhere. Yeah, maybe the Raiders rally around Rich Bisaccia, but I don't know. I think they played like crap against my Bears last week. Something was going on, and I don't think they're going to win in Denver. Again, going against my Bears, Green Bay, they can't beat Aaron Rodgers. Justin Fields kind of hurt his knee, so any mobility he had is probably gone. I don't think he's going to do much against that defense. And then I might look at the overall total on the Rams-Giants, but I don't see how the Giants are going to score anything if Galladay, their top 4 receivers could be out, Barkley's out, Daniel Jones. I can't imagine Daniel Jones is going to play. So Mike Glennon and a bunch of XFL guys, I don't know how they're going to score 17 points against the Rams. So
Hey, easy on the XFL. I happen to be the former host of the main show on the
USFL then.
No, it's okay. They never paid me. So I have no love for the XFL. They never paid me. They actually bounced a check to me. I just did an interview about that. True story. All right, Mikey, I'm coming to you. You can always fill us up with teasers and parlays. I love them all. Talk to me this week.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the board here, if you're watching us on YouTube, which I think you always are, these shows are all live. I'm used to the other podcast. It's on the other platforms. I like the Browns a lot this week. Nice little bonus with Jones being out on the other side. I think this is a great spot for the Cardinals to kind of come out a little flat and take that first loss of the season. But I'm going to have them in the teaser here. Browns plus 3.5. Bills plus 0.5 point. You are covered there if you indeed get the rare tie game in the overtime. But I like the Browns plus 3.5, and I like the Bills to win that game. I'm also going to include the Bills in the Jaguars teaser. This is a London game. Should be kind of like a little bit of an international home game for them, but I do think that they are trending in the right direction at times, and I think this is a good spot against Miami. Obviously, both teams have to deal with the travel in this spot, but I like the Jags here at this key number of plus 10. And then the Browns minus 2.5. I have a question here in the chat too. Why do I tease through 0? Because my model is one of the best models in the world, and I don't care what people think about teasing numbers through certain numbers. I trust my models. It's made me lots and lots and lots of money. So I find games that are somewhat efficient where I have the yeah, right. Like it's the truth.
I agree.
Talk to you about teasers. Do what, Matt?
I agree. The coach did the pen drop like you just destroyed. So
yeah. Yeah, no, I have some of the best stuff in the world, and absolutely. I am very, very confident in it. But so I looked through that. I get it to the key number here at 3.5. I don't see them losing this game by more than a field goal. I think it's an absolutely smash spot for the Browns. So I'm going to talk about them mostly here since they're in almost all of the picks. This Arizona Cardinals defense, they actually struggle to defend the run. And this Browns team obviously runs the football very well. Baker Mayfield, say what you want about him, but when he's got those two running backs there, got the home field here for this one, I think that they manage the game well enough. I think they're going to win. I think they're going to cover this number, but I definitely like them in this spot. I think it's a huge letdown spot for the Arizona Cardinals.
There you see Chris. What about Kelsey? Kelsey's always so active. I love her. Mikey, confident AF. My dad always taught me when I was growing up. He said, it's not bragging if and you done it. That was his favorite saying. And it ain't bragging because we do it every single day. By the way, on this show, my man RJ White, what are you, 21-6 on the Early Edge brand this year? We're winning 57% of our plays across all football cappers. That's how good all my guys have been. 57%, a return of 11.9% for all $100 bettors. That's what we're talking about here. You got to follow my guys. All right, let's jump in. Let's keep pounding that like button. I don't want to have to tell you all the time. You saw what we did last night, over 1,000 likes. It was amazing. Let's get to 200 here on the show so I can give away two year-long memberships to Sportsline. We're going to go through every single game like we do every single week because it's all about knowledge and information. And sometimes you don't want to bet every single game. You don't. All right, RJ, I'm going to come to you. Thursday Night Football, the GOAT. Back at it on a Thursday night, giving 7 on the road at Philadelphia. The number is sitting at 52. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mentioned how the Bucs dominated the Miami defense. We thought the Miami defense was good. They have a defensive-minded coach, and Tampa Bay just did whatever they wanted. So I think Miami's defense is in trouble there. Brissett is not good, and he still finished with good numbers against the Tampa defense because Tampa defense dealing with a bunch of injuries on the back end. I thought that I had the Tampa minus 10, and it came in, but I thought their defense would play better because I thought the pass rush could get through that Miami offensive line that's been terrible. But Tampa's D is not going to be down Levante David too. I mean, Philly's going to go in there and score some points. So I think Philly's D could have another 40-point dud in them. You remember they played the Cowboys, they gave up 40. They played the Chiefs, they gave up 40. They could certainly do that here. But I think they could get to 35 too, in this game because that Tampa defense I don't expect to play well. And that defense played well against Carolina. I mean, they were 4th in yards per play on the year, so it's not like they're terrible. Massive backdoor potential with Tampa's injuries, so I think the line's too high regardless, and we might not need the backdoor, but love having it available against a secondary that's so beat up. So that's why I like the Eagles here.
Now, what about, though, based off what RJ just said, Maddie, I'll come to you. Would you like the over here?
Honestly, I haven't really looked at this game because I look at a spread first, and if I don't like the spread, then I go to the total. I've always been a spread guy first, and I don't really like it sitting on 7. Even with Brady having watched 10 covered 10 straight primetime games, whatever. But I haven't even looked at this game yet because I didn't like the numbers, so I have no opinion on the total.
Mikey, what about you? Sorry, I'm laughing. My mind goes every time you talk, man, and you say something, it goes to a bad place. It just goes to a bad place. Mikey, your thoughts on the total based off what RJ just said?
Yeah, I don't love the total. I think it's accurately set. I think that there's just such a wide range of outcomes on the total itself in this game. Like, yes, it could easily turn into one of those shootouts because of the defense, but it could also be one that's not. So I don't have much interest there. I'd probably be looking at this one from a live betting perspective, depending on which side you're on, whether it's you want to back the Eagles and you think the Tampa Bay scores on the first drive, you're going to get a better number than that 7. And likewise, if you're on the other side, if the Eagles come out hot and score on that first drive, it is a short week on their home field in prime time. If they come out and score there, you'll get just a little bit better number on that. So for me, this one's going to be a live betting situation. For the Eagles, I'm a little interested to see what they look like without having Goddard out there also. Dallas Goedert is on the COVID list. There's a small chance, I guess, in theory, that he could return with 2 negative tests, but I don't think there is enough time for that to happen. So I think they've got interesting pieces. I think it's definitely not the slam dunk that the public is going to think that it's Bucks minus 7. I personally think the number is accurate on both sides right now. But again, I think that one of these two teams is likely to go up 7-0 early. It's probably the dumbest comment I've ever made because some team scores first in every game. But one of them is likely to score on their first drive, whether it's the Bucks come out hot or the Eagles get that ball. They're organized to start the game. And I think you'll be able to steal some value on the live line. But as far as the pregame, I will not be touching this one pregame.
It's funny. I've learned my lesson working with you guys now for a while, that just because a game looks lopsided or looks like it's easy play, you got to dig deeper because it's not always as obvious as just what's in front of you. MD, Will, Alvin, Edward, Daniel, I see all you guys. Type coach, we'll get a shout out here on the show. Let's go in that chat. Now, let's move into the early game. A lot of people last week tweeted at me, says, Coach, I forgot about the Jets and the Falcons playing the early game. It's 9:30 is the start time on Sunday. This week, it's the Dolphins and the Jags. Jags always play a game in London. I believe if they had their druthers, they would move their entire organization to London. I truly believe that. So it's a 9:30 a.m. Eastern start. The Dolphins giving 3.5 over the Jags, total of 45.5. Maddie, let's come to you to start the discussion.
Rather amazing. This is the 30th London game, and there's never been one that had two winning teams in it. There's been a couple with 500 teams, but there's never been one with 2 winning teams. So obviously this one's not close. I like the Jaguars here. I mean, something funky seems to always happen in those games. The Finns look broken, as we kind of talked about last week. Brian Flores cannot coach offense or hire offensive coordinators or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if Tua is going to come back, but I don't know if that frankly makes much of a difference. I think the Jaguars have a pretty good chance to win this outright unless, Urban Meyer does something silly to a stewardess on the plane. So I would be taking the Jaguars in the points here.
Anybody else want to touch on the London game between, once again, 2 losing teams?
I mean, I'll touch on it. I have them in that teaser. I had them at +4, which got it to +10. I was hoping they would go the other way and we'd get them a +4.5, but I don't think we're going to get that gift at this point. But you never know throughout the week. I think that this team overall, while they do have new pieces with the coaching staff, with the quarterback Trevor Lawrence, the organization is familiar with this trip to London. They like them over there. They will definitely be the home team in this game over there. And frankly, I think that getting out of the country, getting to this spot might be just enough of a distraction and to break up some of the mood and the energy for this team. So as far as the numbers go, I think that it really should only be 2.5. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think that the travel and then the quarterback situation for Miami, I know that they kept it competitive with the Bucs at times, but as RJ has said, and as he's pointed out by having a pick on the Eagles there, I think that the Bucs team isn't as great as you think they are defensively. So I don't know. I don't think this Miami team is that good, despite hanging around with the Bucs for a little bit in that game. So if I had to play it, it would definitely be on the Jaguars side. I've already got it in that teaser. If it hits 4.5 somehow, I will end up playing the Jaguars +4.5.
All right, boom. So write that down. Those are the nuggets that you got to write down here on the show to really help you as the week progresses. If on Wednesday it gets to 4.5, bang it right then. Thursday, bang it right then. It's all about the number. It's so important. All right, moving on. Game number 2, Packers at the Bears. And of course, normally I would go to Matty, but I know he's a little bitter right now with his Chicago Bears. Number's 4.5. Total sitting at 45. So, Mikey, I'm going to have you start it. And Matty, of course, you can weigh in if you'd like. What do you got, Mikey?
Yeah, this one's super interesting. I think it's been very apparent if you've watched all of the early edge content that I am higher on the Green Bay Packers than pretty much everyone. This is exactly where my number is, which tells me that it's probably really, truly inflated by most people's standards by about 1.5 points. It is still a division game on the road, and I would lean towards the Packers. I don't have the edge required to bet it. I really expected this to only be -3.5, -3. This -4.5 is a little bit of a surprise, just considering that the Packers, like they pushed last week. They had that loss to the Saints. Like they haven't been great, I guess. I still believe in them, obviously. But I was a little surprised I wasn't able to get -3, -3.5 in this one.
Matty, your thoughts on your Bears?
Yeah, I mean, Matt LaFleur, they've won and covered all 4 under him and beaten the Bears by at least 7. They just can't beat Aaron Rodgers. Matt Nagy can't beat him. No matter who their defensive coordinator, they can't beat him. So if this, I would play this all the way to 6.5. So but again, that's just me. I'm tired of getting beaten by him.
Yeah, I have it. I think a lot of people are. Sometimes we say it's not as simple. Sometimes it is. The Packers are just a better team, and right now they're playing really good football. And Aaron Rodgers, remember that first game of the year when they lost 38-3? Nobody's talking about that anymore because right now he's playing at an extremely, extremely high level. All right, moving on. RJ, let's come to you. Bengals laying 3 at Detroit, total 47.5. Clearly, this will not be a nationally televised game, but sometimes you can find value in games like this. What do you think about this line or total?
Yeah, the market's pushing it up to 3.5, and at 3.5, I'm going to be on Detroit. I'm probably going to have that in as a pick on Sportsline at some point. Since these D gave up 7.4 yards per play against Green Bay, since his offense had 2 good drives and 1 big play, I mean, it should not have been as close of a game as it was, and I say that as somebody that was on Cincinnati. Green Bay beat them pretty thoroughly. Of course, same could be said for Detroit versus Minnesota. I mean, Detroit shouldn't have been close at the end either. Minnesota was beating them pretty bad. They caught some breaks to make it close. Since he's expected to win here at Baltimore next week, though, it's an awful spot for them. They come into this game winning record, thinking that this is going to be a big season for them. And so Detroit's desperate for a win. You saw Dan Campbell in the press conference. I think his guys, that type of emotion, you could tell he loves this team, and I think that they love him, and they're going to go play hard for him. So plus 3.5, I like Detroit. Since he hasn't earned that respect on the road, they shouldn't be 3.5 point favorites on the road. So I'm going to be on Detroit. If you can, once you get 3.5, you can get that. You can hold out and try to get 4. I think 3.5 is probably going to be our best number.
But you don't think it'll go below 3, so we shouldn't be worried about that, right?
Well, no. If you want to play the Bengals, you're wanting it to go below 3. I want to be on Detroit. Yeah. So now that it's 3.5, you don't think?
Okay. That's what I was asking. You don't think it's going to go down 4? Okay, I got you. All right. Moving on. Next game: Texans and the Colts. Another kind of weird one here, guys. And I'm going to come to Matty for you first. Colts are laying 9.5. The total sitting at an ugly 42.5. Yuck on that. What do you think about this one after the Colts blew? And that's all you can say. They're up 25-9 in the fourth quarter last night in Baltimore, and they blow it. They give up 2 touchdowns, 2 2-point conversions, and then they have the ball in overtime and can't win the game. How do they bounce back laying almost 10, Matty?
Davis Mills, I mean, I was stuck with that game down here in Florida, the Patriots, Texans. Davis Mills looked great last week. He had the highest rookie passer rating ever by rookie quarterback against Bill Belichick. They blew that game. And kind of like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to wait and see the Colts injury report, but they were down to like their 4th-string cornerback, 4th-string safety. Of course, Quentin Nelson's out. They're injured. Their defenses, they're just broken. And I just think they're broken mentally after Monday night's loss. So like I said, I got it at 10.5. I don't know if we'll get back there, but I definitely think Houston can stay with a 10.
Yeah, I agree too. Adam Smith says, I like the over and a Houston cover. Mikey?
I like the over in this game at 42.5. I think it's a little soft. I think it should be 44.5 at least. I could make the argument all the way up to 46.5 though. But this one is one I haven't put it in officially, but I should based on the number in my model and then cross-checking it here with the Sportsline model and some others. I think we're all 3 of us are over 44.5. So I do think the total is about 2 points too soft. Some of it is what Maddie said. The defense is banged up. It is a spot there. These games tend to get a little more competitive than you would think in the division. But I do think the Colts are still going to be able to put up points. I think there's no doubt they're going to move the football up and down the field. I think at 42.5, it's pretty soft in the total.
Now, a lot of you are answering the sports line question as Mikey is talking about the Colts. Many of you say false. Kelsey, John, Zach, Milton. However, Butch says true. Butch thinks the Colts can make a playoff run despite a 1-4 start. Well, I'll tell you, Butch, they better get it done this week, or at 1-5, that answer will be a resounding no. All right, moving on. Next game, Mikey. What's it?
Will it though? I mean, they play in the AFC South. I mean, those Titans don't look good. I mean, it might be 6-11, 7-10 season. Over
I just need to get to my win total of 10 with the Titans. Then I don't care what happens. But I'm holding a ticket. We did a lot of futures. I'm holding a lot of future tickets. By the way, how do you guys? This is the first time I've really ever done this, where I have like 8 future tickets, and it's so hard to sit on a ticket for 4 months or 5 months. I'm learning. But it's hard when you look at it every day and go, oh, man, I need 5 more wins, 6 more wins, 7 more wins. But it's a fun way to bet, too. It really, really is. And you got to have money management to do it. And that's what I'm learning with all of you guys. All right, Mikey, let's come back to you. This is also an interesting number because anytime a team lays double figures on the road, it really makes you pause. And that's exactly what the Rams are doing. The number's sitting at 10.5. Giants total 47.5. And unfortunately, we watched Daniel Jones get his head just banged off a helmet, then off the ground, and had to be caught by a Dallas player as he walked back to the huddle. It wasn't a good sign. Saquon Barkley, if he didn't have any if he didn't have bad luck, he wouldn't have any luck as he tweaks his ankle, and then he was out of the game against Dallas as well. So, Mikey, what's your original take on this on a Tuesday?
My take on this on a Tuesday is that 10.5. I don't like laying the 10.5. I know that some will point to, this is a situation like the Bucs. They're the better team. They're going to clearly blow them out. This is the real first week in the season where I think it matters that we have these West Coast teams traveling east for the early start time. The Giants, obviously, it all depends on Daniel Jones playing or not. I'm not backing a team in any way with Mike Glennon on the field. I don't have any interest in doing it, frankly, at this point in his career.
Welcome to Chicago.
Yeah, welcome to this show, Mike Glennon.
Right. So I think that this number is somewhat hedged because of that. I think that if Daniel Jones is like in and like actually in, that this number is probably 8.5 to 9. I think that it's hedged to that point. I think that if it's a Mike Glennon start, it's 12.5, and the public might steam that thing all the way up to 14. I think it's just really, really bad situation with Glennon. So I personally think it's hedged. I'm not touching it right now. If you have if you think that Daniel Jones is 100% and he's like going to play and going to be totally fine, I think you're getting decent value here at 10.5. It is a little bit of a slow start spot for the Rams traveling and having that early start time. But as of right now, I'm sitting back on it. I've already got a lot of action out there and some spots that I really love. So this is not one that I'm eager to go invest in.
Okay, our sports line question. The Rams are the blank best team in the NFC. Daniel says they're the best team. Now, there's only one man on this show that does power rankings every single week. RJ, where do you have the Rams right now?
Power ratings, I have the Rams as 5 points better than average. That puts them second in the NFC behind the Bucs at 6, and ahead of the Cowboys and the Packers and the Cardinals, who I have all +3 right now. And probably a little soft on the Cowboys there. They impress me every week, but I get very conservative with these ratings. I'm not going to move somebody like 4 points in a week. So really only looking for a point if somebody does really good, or maybe a 1.5 if I just see a weird thing in the rankings. Like I need to put the Chargers over the Browns after what I saw last week. So I need to put them up a little bit more than what I had them. So I think Rams number 2 right now in the NFC behind the Bucs. Once the Bucs get healthy, obviously, by the time we get to January, we figure they're going to be healthier on defense and they're going to be tough to beat.
We talk all the time, the value you get if you're a Sportsline member. I don't like to say subscriber. I like to say member. It's a membership because we're all members. It would be worth it just for the power rankings and the preseason NFL thing that RJ does. It would be worth it just for that. But you get everything else. That is such a good read and so much valuable information. All right, RJ, I'm coming right back to you. The Chiefs, they are in trouble. They're 2-3. It's not just about can they get a high seed in the playoffs. It's about are they going to get there if they can fix their defense. So they're going on the road. They're laying a touchdown at Washington, the total sitting at 55.5. The last time they faced this spot, they beat Philly in Philly. Talk to me on this one.
The number is 29. Casey's allowed 29 points in all 5 games. Washington's allowed at least that many in the last 4. These are the worst 2 defenses in terms of points allowed. I actually think this line is maybe a little light in terms of power rating because I'm still a big believer in the Chiefs. I have them very high, and I'm a little skeptical on Washington. But I can't lay a big number with this Kansas City defense. It's wide open backdoors every single week, even if they're going to be ahead. So Casey's had to play a brutal schedule, though. Now they get Washington, Tennessee, Giants. I think now is probably the time to buy on their stock. I really do want to lay it with Casey. When it was 6.5, I wanted to, but I just kept on looking at that defense and just picturing that they're dominating the game. They're up 12 in the fourth quarter, then they win by 4 or 5 because they can't stop anybody. So it's probably going to be a stay away for me. If anything, I might be on Washington just if I'm feeling it with the defensive backdoor there. But power ratings say this is a good number.
Mikey, do you have something?
I just say it's going to be very interesting to see what Kansas City looks like and what the true status of everyone is. We know Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, both on the injury report. Some of that, sometimes we've seen this in the past with them and some other star players. You have a game that's frustrating, not going your way. You kind of have that injury pop up with, and you're really fine. Just don't feel like being around everybody and practicing the next day early in the week. And I kind of think that's what's up with Tyreek personally. But we will see how serious that is. Obviously, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out. I don't think that's a massive, massive loss for them. I think it's interesting to see what Williams and Jerick McKinnon will be able to do for them. I expect to see a fair amount of Jerick McKinnon in this game. But as far as everything goes here, I think you can lean over on the total. You can tease the Chiefs if you want to and bring that number down. I think that they absolutely win this game. But like RJ said, that backdoor cover is wide open. And until we have a little more news, I need another, I don't think this one's in danger of moving to 7.5 or 8 right away. So I'm going to wait another day and get some more status updates on Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and make sure it's not a situation where one of them could potentially sit before I go grab this.
Yeah, Kelce took a big-time hit to the head late in that game on Sunday night. By the way, we have our first winner just from activity. We're still waiting on the 200 likes winners to come through. At We Hit the Over, you are the newest member of Sportsline. We will reach out to you on social media and give you all of the details. My man, Ed Hughes, love your text. Sportsline is the best-kept secret on the internet. If you're not a member, you are losing money, and that's exactly what it is, and it's not even close. All right, moving on. Vikings, Panthers. You already heard RJ talk about this one at the top of the show. Now, Maddie, I'm going to come to you. Vikings giving one total at 46. What do you got here?
Yeah, I would tend to agree with RJ at this point in the week on Carolina, but this is an injury game for me. I have to wait and see if Shaq Thompson and McCaffrey come back, and then Dalvin Cook on the Vikings. But I am a little concerned that Sam Darnold's turning back into his pumpkin jet self. 5 interceptions in the past 2 weeks. So you can only coach a guy so much. He's either got talent or he doesn't. So that's certainly concerning, but I'm going to wait and see, how McCaffrey and Shaq Thompson, if they're going to play or not. Probably play this game.
RJ, back to you on yeah, go ahead, RJ.
Yeah, the key thing there, 5 interceptions the last 2 games, he didn't have McCaffrey. And McCaffrey returned to practice last week. That makes me think he's going to play this week.
I think so too.
So we'll be monitoring that and see if he does play. But then when you can rely on a guy that good on your offense, McDonald doesn't have to do too much. I like Panthers in that game, which is weird because I would think that unless somebody knows something about McCaffrey's status, that might be the reason why the line moved. But I would think that people would be waiting for the Panthers because they would want to take them. So maybe it's a head fake by the Sharps, by the industry plays that are over there trying to fake the books out and get a better number. But Minnesota's defense just doesn't look good in their first 2 weeks on the road. They're coming off a 3-game homestand. I don't trust him if McCaffrey's playing in this game. So I think Carolina's at least even with the Vikings right now, and their home feels better than the -1. So no value on Carolina on this one.
I agree completely here. I have a -2 right now, so I didn't even see that it had flipped. I should have a play on the Panthers if we are indeed getting a full point at this point. I tend to agree. Christian McCaffrey, from what I understand, there's a chance that he could have actually played in a limited capacity last week. So I think that he's going to be out there. I think it's a great spot. I think that they wanted to have him here for this home game. So, yeah, I think that I think it's definitely Panthers or nothing in this one.
All I know is that the Panthers ruined a lot of parlays and teasers and stuff that we had here on the show last week because everything hit. All you guys were bang, bang, bang. The Panthers blow that big lead late in the game. Oh, that was very, very, very frustrating. All right. next game. And this one, I think this could be the game of the week. It's certainly going to answer a lot of questions as far as the AFC is concerned. And, Mikey, I'm going to come to you. The Ravens are laying 3 after that incredible comeback last night. They win 31-25 after trailing 25-9 in the fourth quarter. So they welcome the Chargers, who looked fantastic. Herbert has been amazing. They're scoring tons and tons of points. They end up covering against the Browns, another just bad beat if you're a Cleveland fan, as they carry Eckler into the end zone. The total of 51.5. Mikey, a really good game. Talk to me first.
Oh, yeah, this game is fantastic. I tell you, I'm a little higher on Baltimore. So the 3 teams that I'm higher on than the market, it's the Dallas Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, and the Baltimore Ravens. And I think the market is super high, obviously, now and inflated on the Chargers side. This is another one of those games where we have the West Coast team traveling across the country, early start time on the East Coast. Ravens, you'll hear a little talk this week about obviously how bad they were in parts of that game. And then the short week. I don't care at all about the short week when it's back-to-back home games like this. And the other team is traveling from the West Coast to the East Coast. I think that it's totally overblown. So it's one of those situations where I could easily get behind backing the Chargers when you're getting the hook 3.5 or 4. I'm waiting to see if the public is going to don't get me wrong, the public is going to be absolutely all over this Chargers team. It's going to be a huge public side on the Chargers. If this one gets pushed to 2.5, I think the Ravens at -2.5 is a fantastic bet in this spot. They're a totally different team. They're going to rally around after that big win that they had. Mark Andrews is back. Hollywood Brown is catching passes. The only thing I wish Sammy Watkins, we had some news there. Unfortunately, I think he's going to be out. But they're going to have Bateman back for this game. Miles Boykin is back. They've got some more depth that they haven't had all season. And I think it's coming at the right time. So I like them to rally at home. I think the Chargers can start slow in this one. I think it's a great play. And I think that this is going to be a huge public spot for the Chargers, who, yes, they are a very good team. They're one of the better teams in the league. Just because they won that game the way they did against the Browns, like that game very easily could have been the exact same result the other side with the Cleveland win.
I want to hear from all 3 of you. RJ, your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, you asked me about my power rating last time. I still have the Ravens ahead of the Chargers in my power ratings. So I do agree that that's probably the way to look. The Chargers are going to be super popular. They look like one of AFC's best teams. It's not a great matchup for them. The Chargers' rush defense is a problem, allowing 180-plus yards, rush yards 3 times, and Baltimore's excellent on the ground with Lamar. I know he's doing a lot more with his arm this year, so it just makes it more dynamic. Baltimore defense coming off 2 easier matchups, though they got gashed the first 2 weeks. Feels like I'm grabbing more than the field goal with either of these teams, no matter the opponent. So if you can get 3.5 with the Chargers, I'd be okay with that. But yeah, I think probably going to be on Chargers, just not going to get back to 3.5. I'm kind of what Mikey here waits like it's 2.5 if you want to make a play, and then maybe a little one on the Ravens.
All right, very good. By the way, their record streak, they tied the Steelers last week. It will continue to be tied because they did not get 100 yards rushing last night. So that record stops at 43. Maddie, let me ask you this. We talk about, you heard Mikey Sav, it goes to 2.5, could be really tight. What do you think about the money line at -158 and just play the Ravens to win the game?
That's something I do. I was actually going to do that on the Packers last week. I don't know if on this show I picked them at 3, but I waited till Sunday morning and I got to 2.5. So then I quick jump. But yeah, that's I know I don't see a lot of these guys doing that very often, but I absolutely do that sometimes. And I tend to agree with Mike. I agree that the short week doesn't matter because it's either they're at home and the trip across country. I think the Chargers have been playing a little bit with fire lately. One of these times, one of these forced downs is going to backfire on them. They're their own 24 or something. It's fun to watch, but they're not going to get them all. So I tend to agree the Ravens are going to build off that. They're not like the team that'll get distracted and just care so much about one win. So I do like Baltimore here too.
All right, very good. Very good. Continue to pound that like button. Let's get to 200 likes. I know here on this show, it's a little bit different than our evening show that has just a ton of energy, but there is more information on this show than any other show of the entire week. I want to give away 2 memberships to Sportsline, but as you know last night, I don't just give them away. You have to earn it. You have to earn it. I see you, Zach. You're trying. All right, now this show has grown so much. And Maddie, I think this is the first time you've been on the show since we have started having commercials. Yes, we have commercials here on the show now. Here's a little word from.
Am I in it? Am I in the ad?
You're not in the ad. I can promise you, but I guarantee you that's coming. I guarantee you have a role in some commercial. Whatever we do one, I guarantee you'll have a role. Here's a word from Paramount Plus.
The chance to take someone else's power, you can't deny that would feel good.
It's not judicial.
This is personal.
Axelrod has to be wiped off the face of the earth.
You say we're partners? Then trust me.
Whatever he's going after, I'm gonna take it. I will bring him to heel.
I think I love this.
And I don't think I like Billions. I love Billions, one of the great shows on TV on Showtime. Quick question from you two. Mikey, I'm coming to you. What are the key numbers in betting totals to you and your algorithm?
I'm not a huge on the key numbers. I'll tell you, like 41 is a pretty key number. 44 is going to be a key number for me. But overall, I'm not huge on the key numbers there, just because I'm simulating games and trusting the actual outcome from the simulations. But RJ or Maddie would probably be someone, just the way that they do things, would probably be better on this question than me.
Okay. Maddie, RJ, you want to weigh in on that?
I agree. I don't really have a key number either.
Yeah, I'm awful on total. So you see me on this, whatever record I built up, 17-4, I think, on this show. I don't think I gave it a one total. Maybe I've done one. So not great there. But numbers historically been 41, 45. The offense in the NFL has pushed kind of 41 is less of a key number, because you just don't see games that low scoring anymore. So you're typically looking at the 48, 51s, those type of things. So if you think it's going to be a decently high scoring game, maybe 54 is a key number for you. But that's kind of what you're looking at right now, kind of thinking multiples of 3.
I will say, now that we're getting into mid-October, weather's going to, potentially start mattering in some places too. So.
You know what else matters? Mikey, what are you drinking? Fire Sports wants to know. What are you drinking
We got a
today?
little lemonade in the early edge pint glass, but lemonade, and we'll go ahead and address it too. So these are waters. A lot of people think I'm drinking like a Modelo or something. It's liquid death. It's just water. So right before this, I was talking for an hour straight with the camera. I get thirsty up here. I drink a lot when I'm sitting here, and days like this, I've got 2-3 hours live in a row. So we have lots of drinks here, but I'm always drinking liquid death, water out of a can, and then sometimes lemonade out of the pint glasses.
You know what's crazy? By the way, I don't even have a pint glass yet, and I'm on the show every day. However, people ask me all the time, how great is the job that you get to do? We have probably the only bosses, and you guys can back me up on this, in America, that not only want us to bet on the games that we play, they require us to bet on the games we play. And if we chose to have a beer or two here on the show, guess what? They would be cool with that too. The best group of bosses and crew you could ever work with. I tell people all the time, this is the favorite job I've ever had. I'm never going anywhere for the next 30 years. I love this place so very much. All right, we have our next random winner at 801_MD. You've been incredibly active today, and you will win either an upgraded membership or a membership to Sportsline if you don't already have one. All right, real-time score in Houston up 6-1, top of the 8th. Trying to close out the White Sox in the Windy City. Sorry, Maddie. All right, let's move on. We got 5 more games to get to. We only got 15 minutes to do it. Cardinals, Browns. This could also be the game of the week. I think we're going to learn a lot about both teams here. Cardinals, are they really the best team right now? They're undefeated, the only undefeated team. They've been figuring out a way, guys, and I'm going to come to you, RJ. The Browns, they should have won last week. They should have won week 1 against Kansas City. So are they the team that gives up the leads, or are they the team that looks dominant like they did against Minnesota and a couple other games this year? We're going to find that out. RJ, your take on this game?
Yeah, I think that the Browns aren't being underrated by the market. Obviously, they're 2.5-point favorites against an undefeated team. So even though they lost a few games that they maybe should have won, I don't think anybody's underrating them. Their rush offense is ridiculous right now. They're first in rushing attempts, and they're first in yards per attempt. So you run all the time, and yet you're still first in yards per attempt. People just can't stop you. 639 yards on the ground in the last 3 games. Arizona's defense did contain Derrick Henry in week 1. They still ranked 31st in yards per attempt. I think Mike alluded to that. They're a terrible rush defense. Now Chandler Jones on COVID is going to be even worse for that defense. Cleveland's defense fell apart last week, dealing with a lot of injuries, though. So we'll monitor their health there. We'll see if they get healthier for this matchup. Arizona's offense also struggled last week against the talented San Francisco defense. Kyler might not be 100% like I was talking about earlier. I think it's a fair line for the 5-0 Cardinals here, considering injury issues, but it's not a great matchup for them. I think Cleveland's going to win this one. Probably another close game, so I'm not going to go crazy there, but I like -2.5 since we're getting it under 3.
Okay. Mikey?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what RJ said. The concern on the Cardinals is, a lot of it's not the early start time. It is an East Coast game, but it is an afternoon game. Important to note that. So it's a more normal start time for the Cardinals. But I don't think Kyler's healthy and Jones is out on the other side. But it's really about the rushing. This Cleveland team, I talked about it last week. They're a lot like the Chargers. These two teams are going to play to the ability of the opponent pretty much every single week. They're going to be in competitive games most of the time that they take the field. I like that here. They're on the home field, but they're really going to wear them out running the football. When Baker Mayfield hasn't been great, they're still in competitive games because of the way that they manage the game. When he has the nice games, they look like one of the best teams in the NFL. I just think that this team is underrated. They make the right decisions for the most part as far as when to go for certain plays. That really adds win probability in their favor at really key spots in games. So that's something when you're looking to back a team that you really should be concerned with. You don't have to go over the top on backing teams that always make the right decisions, but you should at least be cautious on teams that continue to make really poor decisions that really affect their win probability. This is not one of those teams. They're a very smart organization. So I do think that it's interesting because, yes, Cleveland is valued fairly in the market, but this Arizona Cardinals team, it's very hard to not be overvalued when you're 5-0 to start the season like this.
Great stuff. Great analysis. Great insight there. All right, moving on to our next game. Maddie, I'm coming to you. And this is a fascinating game to me because you've got a franchise in the Las Vegas Raiders that are a shambles. They had a head coach who was exposed for what he truly has been for many, many years, and I'm comfortable saying that. The Broncos are laying 3.5 now at home, total 44. Teddy Bridgewater has been injured the last couple of weeks, but expected to play this week. At least that's what we're hearing. Maddie, your take on this game in Denver?
Yeah, I knew Gruden a bit too from his Tampa days, but I can't say I knew as well as you did, I'm sure. This is, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but interim head coaches since 2010 are 15 games under 500 and both straight up and against the spread. I don't pretend to be in a pro football locker room and care about what, someone said about race or gays or anything else. So I can't imagine that it's good. Rich Bisaccia's never been a head coach. I don't know how he's going to run practice. So like I said, I was fortunate enough to get on the Broncos when it was still 3. I don't love it 3X. I think Denver's a little bit fake, but that's my take. I don't think the Raiders are going to be in any frame of mind to do anything here.
Based off what Maddie just said, would this be a stay away, RJ, for you, not knowing what the Raiders are going to do, and the Broncos at 3.5? That just feels like a number I don't want to play when they've done nothing offensively the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's interesting. Typically, when we have these coaching situations where a coach changes, it's because there's been bad blood boil, and we know they're going nowhere. It's going to happen sooner or later. Finally, it happens, and then there's a release for the team. There's a dead cat bounce the next week. They kind of rally around the new coach. They're glad the situation's changed. This is different. You can't treat this the same way because this guy was the franchise going to be there for years and years and years until Friday. And then something happens. He has to release a statement. He coaches the team Sunday, and then 2 days later he's gone. Or 1 day later he's gone. So it's kind of like a shell shock thing. You don't really know how the players are going to respond to it. You don't know how much they like them or not. I didn't get the sense that it was a bad situation there, that he was anywhere near being fired. If these things didn't happen. So it's hard to get a read on that from that sense. Now, the Broncos, I was all over fading them the last few weeks. I didn't think they were as good as they showed the first few weeks. Both of teams have actually come back to earth after hot starts, which is easier schedules. The Denver opening slate was an order of magnitude worse than the Raiders slate. And the 2 losses were versus teams that Vegas just beat. So Vegas beat earlier in the year. So I want to say the Denver pass rush should dominate this Vegas O-line, but they didn't against a bad Pittsburgh unit. So I don't know that I can just count on Denver's defense to show up here. Vegas defense was fine against Chicago. Vegas offense should be better most weeks than what they showed. This is all assuming that this isn't going to just break the team up. So I have these teams even in the power ratings. If we just take the off the field stuff off the table, I'm more worried about Denver right now, even though Teddy Bridgewater is going to be better once he's healthier. So I'd probably lean to the Raiders at plus 3.5 if I thought mentally they were okay, but it's probably just a stay away.
Yeah, I feel like it's a stay away too. I loved the last line from the Gruden pseudo apology. I never meant to hurt anybody. Well, of course you didn't. You didn't think you were ever going to get caught for writing all that crap that you wrote 10 years ago. Good riddance. I never want to hear from you again. All right,
Coach, can I hit that one real quick?
Of course,
just quickly
absolutely.
on that.
Yeah.
I think that this one, I don't think it's going to go to 4, but if it does go to 4, I do agree it's a stay away where it's at. All things considered, if everything was normal, it's pretty easy play on the Raiders at that point. But if it gets to 4, I would consider throwing the Raiders in a teaser at +10. I don't see them losing by 2 touchdowns in this game. So that's just one way I would consider playing it. I actually don't hate it at 9.5 still, but if you could get it to 10, if this moves to 4, I think it's an okay leg of a teaser in this division game.
A few offers do have it at 4 now already. So
do they? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Matty. Appreciate that. All right, moving on. We got 3 more games to hit on in the next 9 minutes. Cowboys laying 4 at New England. The Patriots, great comeback a week ago. They really had a great comeback against Houston. Say what you want about some of the calls or they won the game after being down a lot to a bad team. But they come home now. The total sitting at 50.5. Mikey, talk to me.
Yeah, this one's interesting. Very similar to the Packers one. The number should be 3 here. The number in the Packers game should be 3. It's inflated. Makes a lot of sense. Cowboys, very public team. Packers, very public team overall in general. Both of the teams on the road. I would have bet them because I'm high on both of them. Like I said, if it was 3, I would have bet the Cowboys. If I would have got the Packers at 3.5, I would have bet the Packers. I think that they're accurately set with where my lines are. I think that they're inflated with where the consensus lines are, if that makes sense.
Sure, absolutely. RJ, any take on this game?
Yeah, I moved the Cowboys up 0.5 point after last week. I moved the Patriots down a point. I know they won the game, but Davis Mills played better than any rookie quarterbacks ever played against Bill Belichick. It has been worried. It was supposed to be the offensive line that was an issue with all the absences and COVID and injuries, and yet it was the defense that was the issue. So New England isn't scaring anyone anymore. So they're very close to a 1-4 team, losing to a perceived basement team coming into this game. So they'll have to have a better plan against Dallas. But it may not matter with the pass and the rush offense both great. I know that's probably why Mikey likes Dallas there. But I moved the line, like I said, I moved those power ratings out each way, and I get my line to Dallas -1.5. So I still think there's a lot of value on the Patriots here. Dallas D has a whopping 10 interceptions. Mac Jones is going to be in trouble if he's forced to pass, but I think just like that Tampa Bay game, Bill Belichick will put him in position to play to his strengths, to keep the ball away from the Dallas defense. I think last week was really a wake-up call for New England. They played better here, keep it close. I'm hoping the market pushes it up a little more and I can jump on the Patriots because I just don't think that they're as bad as this number is making them out to be.
All right, for any of you out there right now, they're like, what is RJ talking about? The Cowboys are going to blow them out. I learned my lesson the hard way on the week they played the Bucs at home. And it cost me a Sportsline Showdown bet that I have paid, by the way. It's never what it seems. You can't just say, oh, the Bucs are going to come in. Oh, just the Cowboys are coming in. It's never that easy. It's never that easy. So be very, very careful. All right, let's get to Sunday Night Football. Matty, I'm coming to you. The Steelers laying 4.5. This is a pick that we already have here officially on the show. Total of 42.5. Seattle, boy, they're facing some, I would say, significant time without Russell Wilson as their quarterback. Here comes Matty. Do you have any confidence in Geno Smith?
Can anyone here name Geno's backup this week?
I have no idea. I haven't even looked yet.
Jake Luton. Can you tell me where he went to school? I mean, just imagine if Geno tweaks an ankle.
Luton.
I don't think this will be close.
Washington State? No, it wasn't Washington State.
Washington, right? He played for the Jaguars when they were tanking last year. They threw him out there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, like I said, we said earlier, I'm all over the Steelers on this one just because of that.
It absolutely. Is that going to be your entire analysis? Because that'll be great. If
it is. Sucks. But that's all I got to say.
I just looked up Luton and it said a town in England. That town in England may have a better shot of winning for Seattle.
Ted Lasso would be a better backup quarterback.
Too bad he's still not on the Jaguars. He'd be right at home.
That is so true. Playing this week in London. Are we as confident, Mikey or RJ, in the Steelers? Because I'm bold. I've already played the Steelers, and I got them at 4. And I may play them again because I think they will blow Seattle out. I really, really do. Anybody else bullish like Matty is on the Steelers?
I think that it's the only way you can really look in that game. I think that a lot of people look at what Geno Smith did in that game, playing a prevent defense at the end of a game. Like, I think that it's very, very, very much different than when you have a week to prepare. Now you're on the road. This Pittsburgh team, they looked like it was going to be just a total disaster of a season, and it still might be. But now all of a sudden they've got an opportunity to steal this game, move to 3-3. If the Browns happen to lose their game, They're both 3-3. The Bengals could very well lose this game to the Lions this week. They would be 3-3 right behind those Ravens. Like, they have a lifeline here. This game really helps them. It was trending to look like a game where they were going to come in and lose this one also to Seattle. Now Russell Wilson's down. I think this is a great spot. I want to see if Najee Harris is really hurt or not. I think he's fine. But yeah, I think that this is a good spot for the Steelers to take care of business at home. And I think it's an absolute gift.
Fantastic. My man, Drew, YouTube comment, helping us out. How dare you respect? I think he means disrespect. My Oregon State quarterback, Jake Luton. Go Beavs. All right. So there's our answer. Oregon State is where Mr. Luton played his college football. All right, we're gonna end right back where we started with Mr. R.J. White. Monday Night Football. The Bills, they are who we thought they were. They go into Arrowhead. We thought they were the better team. They look like the better team. The Chiefs' defense is still horrible, but the Bills on both sides of the ball playing great. Right now, the number up to 5.5. It started at 3, so you can see what has happened already. Total sitting at 54. This is your squad, RJ. Talk to me.
Yeah, I wanted to put it in at 3. That's what it was on SportsCenter when I checked it Monday morning. But the market at 3.5, and I didn't want to put it in until we put we got the updated line on the site. By the time the site updated, it was 4.5. So I was like, all right, I got to jump on it here because it's going to keep going up. So the Sharps just pushed it up. Buffalo's deconfirmed it's good against the Chiefs. It's hard to have anyone but Buffalo number 1 in power ratings at this point. Tennessee coasted to a win against Jacksonville, but that defense still looks bad. They allowed 6.9 yards per play to the Jaguars. That's not going to get it done against a Buffalo team that's way more dangerous than the Jaguars. The pass offense really hasn't been there for Tennessee either this year. I know they dealt with injuries on the receivers, but they weren't really that dynamic with them either. It's something kind of all Derrick Henry. And Buffalo's defense is 4th in yards per rush allowed. So I hope they can slow down Henry a little. I don't think he's going to break out for another 150-yard game here. But the problem is, as it goes higher and higher and you want to play the Bills, this could be a big letdown spot. Just like the Ravens slayed the Chiefs, they had a letdown spot after that. Buffalo slayed the Chiefs. I'm a little more hesitant to play that angle and say, oh, they're just going to take this game for granted because it's on prime time. It's on national TV. You get up for those games more than you do a 1 p.m. game, and they have the bye coming up next week. So everybody's kind of keep it together. Keep their focus together for 1 week. Then you can all exhale. You can take a mental break next week and decompress. So I think with this positive coaching staff, one of the better coaching staffs in the league, they'll keep the team together and they're going to win this game by touchdown.
Mikey, YouTube comment says this feels like it has to be the over. Does it have to be the over?
If you like the Titans side of things, I would say yes. If you think that they're going to cover the spread or you're interested in betting that, then I do think that this one should get out of hand a little bit like that, but I would be cautious just because the Kansas City offense is still one of the most efficient offenses in the league, and this Bills team did a pretty good job limiting them to the point where I think that's why you see the Bills are now a consensus number 1 in power ratings. They've jumped the Bucs, they've jumped Kansas City obviously after that game, but I think they're a pretty clear consensus number 1 team in the NFL right now, and rightfully so. So I think that the over, while it seems like a slam dunk, this Titans offense, it's such a high variance spot for them. Yes, I could see them keeping it close. Yes, I could see it being very competitive, but I could also see this Bills team limiting them to 17 points.
All right, very good. Maddie, any take on this before we wrap it up?
Yeah, Derrick Henry has not had much success in his 3 career games against Buffalo yet to top 80 yards. But like I said, as RJ mentioned, you worry about the letdown, but the Titans embarrassed Buffalo last year, so I'm sure they'll remember that as well. Like Mike says, win by at least a touchdown.
All right, very good. So we have to wait for that game on Sunday or Monday night. Gary, Mac, Joe, Pooh Bear, WV. I see all you guys in the comment section and the ladies as well. We're really growing an incredible group of people, and I can't thank you enough for tuning in every single show. By the way, our next Early Edge live show, our Wednesday college football mega preview with AB and the boys. This crew will be back Thursday night, counting down to Thursday Night Football, the Bucs on Thursday night. So this is going to be a great show. We start now at 7:20 Eastern time, not at 7 o'clock at the top of the hour. All right, Johnny, real quick, let's put up the recap one more time and let all the people know the official plays here on the show this week. Remember, beat the line. If you can get the numbers, we're giving out pound that number right now. RJ, 5 official plays: Browns, Panthers, Eagles, Bills, Steelers. Matty, Texans, Broncos, Packers, Steelers, Giants, team total under. Then 3 plays for Mikey. We got 2 teasers, Browns and Bills, Jags and Bills, and then Browns play it straight. As always, follow him on social media. You never know when he's going to give out more official plays for the brand here. All right, thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for being so active. We never got to 200 likes, so I'm not giving away any other than the 2 people that were incredibly active in the chat. So we've only got one thing left to do, and you know what that is. You've got your marching orders. It feels good early on a Tuesday. Let's take all of these NFL tickets straight to the pay window. For RJ, for Maddie, for M Squared, for our incredible producer, Johnny, who keeps it all on the rails. It's not easy doing these shows. Let me tell you that. It's not. As a producer, it's very, very difficult, but we have the greatest across the board. All right. Again, we'll be back Thursday, but as always, we'll be back tomorrow morning for our normal morning show, 10 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. Tell your friends, the only brand you need, right here at the Early Edge. Good luck. Do you want best bets in your feed every single day? All you have to do is hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Early Edge.